So, I've seen Spider-Man No Way Home for the third time now, and I'm going to try and articulate my thoughts. During the first viewing, I really didn't know how to feel about this film. It felt messy to me, and I was torn on whether I liked it or I hated it. This is why I stayed clear of any No Way Home discourse. I didn't want my initial thoughts on this movie to be something I put on the internet. I needed time to think, time to see this movie again. Now that I've seen the film 3 times, the questions that had plagued me in my first viewing are answered, and I can firmly say this is a great film and I love it. Is this my favorite Spider-Man movie in the Home trilogy? I'm not sure. Maybe a 4th viewing will solidify that, but so far, Far From Home is still one of my favorite Spider-Man films. Now, spoiler warning, if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home yet, this video is going to talk about heavy spoilers for this movie. However, while I do think it's a fine film, I think it could have added one more villain to this roster and it would have really shaken things up. Someone that would be a definitive ally on Spider-Man's side in my opinion. At least that's how I see it. Who is this person? Well, none other than Dane Dehaan's Green Goblin. Dehaan may not have been the best interpretation of the Goblin, but his story I thought was really interesting. His entire subplot in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 would work perfectly in No Way Home. What does Harry want in TASM 2? He wants to be cured. He wants to be rid of the Osborn curse. He didn't want to be the Green Goblin. It was an accident. He did what he assumed would cure him, save him from the same fate that had fallen his father, but it didn't. Learning that this Peter Parker could cure him, while he would be hesitant because of his previous dealings with Andrew's Spider-Man, he would come around after Peter cured Ock and was on the verge of curing Electro. He would have no reason to distrust this Peter Parker. Also, there could be some tension between his and Dafoe's Goblin, both being father and son of different universes, of course. Dehaan could have been an ally in the fight against the other villains, his sole motivation just to cure himself. He couldn't care less about going back to his universe until the deed was done. He had no reason to fight against our Peter Parker, that is, until Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker returns. Seeing him could have stirred up guilt in Andrew's Peter Parker. He felt that he failed Harry. He could have done something, and because of him, Harry ended up as this and Gwen died. The inverse would be true for Dehaan's Harry Osborn, igniting a rage and anger that he hadn't felt since the ending of TASM 2. The two could get into a fight, one where Andrew's on the defensive. Or we could take a slightly different turn, where he could go after Dafoe's Goblin after the fight with Tom Holland's Peter Parker. Obviously, Dafoe's Goblin would outclass Dehaan in every way possible, due to him not being able to fully control the Goblin transformation as we see at the end of TASM 2, leaving him out of commission until the final battle. If we go forward with this scenario, we could have a scene where the Peters talk about curing the villains, Tom Peters mentioned he needs 2 different cures for the Goblin, Andrew would look shocked as he remarked similar to Toby thinking about a cure for the Green Goblin, but not having found one concrete, feeling determined he had to cure Harry. I feel like Dehaan's Goblin would have served for some great development for not only his character, but Andrew's Peter as well, giving the two closure. Maybe we'll see Dehaan's Goblin again in the future, or maybe not. Either way, I understand why they wouldn't want to include Dehaan's Goblin. 2 goblins in one film would have been a bit much. While it could have worked, it would have made the movie's runtime a bit longer than it already is. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments. How would you write his introduction, his motivations, his conclusion? And if you enjoyed anything I had to say in this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. Here at Beyond Animation, we talk about anime, manga, video games, movies, books, everything to do with pop culture. If that's your thing, stick around, let's watch this channel grow. Help me get to 2K in 2022. Anyway, I'm Grimtoki, this has been Beyond Animation. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.